Hi everyone, the mission of the Newsa-Cast is to carry on the tradition and services of the Red Smith Sports Award Banquet that was held in Appleton for 57 years. The banquet has raised over $1 million for youth sports in the area during that time, and as we work up to a live event again, we have developed the Newsa-Cast podcast. Through conversations, we highlight the stories right here from our own backyard, and just like at the Red Smith Banquet, we highlight the youth of our area, the coaches, the schools, and even local influencers that make our community great. If you would like to help us continue our mission, please head over to redsmith.org to donate.
Welcome to the Newsa-Cast. What is a Newsa-Cast? It's where we bring local folk stories to life through conversation.
All right, Newsa-Cast listeners, welcome to another long-awaited episode of the Newsa-Cast. We're excited to bring you a new episode. I was feeling like I was on a racetrack when I was out in South Dakota where the speed limit's 80. But Joe, you got to sit down and talk to some actual racers.
Yeah, definitely. Tosh back from the Badlands doing, you went more than 80, right? 90?
Yeah. I think there was a 9 in front of that 0, not an 8.
Exactly. Tosh is an excellent driver, by the way.
Yeah.
And yes, Tosh, back from the Badlands. And while you were driving, I was sitting listening to some racers, Tosh. Rich Thompson, who we've had on the Newsa-Cast. He's a lacrosse guy, but his brother Dan and his whole family, his kids, they race at WIR and Slinger, and I learned a lot about the racing game. I'm not super familiar with that, as probably pretty obvious in the interview, but man, super exciting. And I know Thursday nights at WIR, that place gets packed.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. I mean, I live over in Darboy, and you can hear the racetrack depending on which way the wind's blowing on Thursday night. So it's kind of crazy. You hear the cars going, but it is an exciting event. They have lots of events out there. Their series of racing. They have their Eve of Destruction, which is a huge, event for them. It's cool. You realize you have a racetrack in your own backyard.
Yeah, no doubt. I was talking to my son, Owen. He likes racing, and he goes out there quite a bit, hangs out. He loves it. He said there's 7,000-8,000 people out there. They spent one of the last Thursdays, they were in a pavilion, and it was actually fortunate because it rained. They had to cut it short. But yeah, an incredible place. So it's another one of those kind of hidden gems. If you're not familiar with racing, you probably don't even realize that we have one of the best short tracks in really all of the nation for sure, but certainly in Wisconsin.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dan walks us through that, exactly what small track racing is like and how lucky we are to have it here in Wisconsin.
Yeah, you know what? It's I think racing is one of those things that has become larger and larger. A lot of it stems from the F1 series that was on Netflix, and now the new F1 movie with Brad Pitt is coming out too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of excitement with racing. It's not just the Daytonas. It's not just the Indy. There's all kinds of events here in Northeast Wisconsin with Slinger. There's dirt track racing up in Shawano. You name it. There's a lot of racing that goes on in this area.
Yeah, no doubt. And being the expert transitioners that we are, Tosh, one of the other great things that happens in Wisconsin is Mile of Music, right? Right here in our own backyard.
Yeah, that is an exciting event. There's all kinds of artists that have been mentioned. I'm excited to see quite a few of those. There's a band called Bright Light Social Hour from Austin, Texas that kind of looking forward to seeing. And along with some of the other favorites like Bermuda Search Party's coming back. Everybody's favorite around here, Corey Chisel is playing again, and Diggstown is playing again.
Yeah. Our house band, Diggstown, Lily Cowens is playing. We had both Diggstown and Lily. We have 2 interviews with Diggstown. We have an interview with Lily. Go back and check those out. It's awesome to have them. one of my new favorite bands. I actually talked about them a couple of episodes ago, but Iftica, absolutely love those guys.
Fantastic.
Maybe the band that I've probably seen the most, or certainly the longest, Cool Waters band. They always put on an awesome show back behind Emmett's in that big parking lot back there. That's almost a can't miss. That place gets packed.
It does. Absolutely does.
You and I were talking before we started recording. I think we're gonna try to do what we did last year and get a couple of the Mile artists, sit down and shoot the breeze with them. Carly, remember her, Tosh, redhead? Yeah. She just put out a social piece. If you're certainly if you're an activist, you'll want to listen to it. And but she has such a beautiful voice, and she is so funny. I remember you and I talking about her sense of humor, and she puts that into lyrics, sometimes on serious subjects, and it ends up being pretty funny. She kind of nailed this one. So Carsey Blanton, it came to me.
Carsey,
Tosh,
there you go.
Carsey Blanton. Check her out. Check out our interview and find her on social. It's actually pretty cool. It's a cool, I guess it's a reel that she did, but I'm not quite sure of the lingo there, Tosh.
Well, that's awesome. I know, since this is coming out, we're going to be looking at PBS as well, because Mile of Music's documentary is coming out, or came out this week. So, I think Joe apparently has a cameo in that. So
I do. My postal buddies, my buddy Keith, my buddy Ian, the three of us are I think we were at the Paper Valley Hotel. I think it must have been the Thursday night watching. That was the night I discovered Pajamas. But before that was, I can't remember the band's. It was a one-man banjo player, like Tall Trees or something like that. It was a banjo and a drum.
Okay.
And this guy was nuts. But yeah, they caught us. It's like the 45, 46 minute mark. But what I'm excited about, Tosh, so that's an hour-long documentary. I didn't watch the whole thing. It's been online for a few days now, but it's so far it's really good. But they have like another 9 or 10 hours of bonus coverage where they filmed. I haven't even looked through that yet, but I think a lot of the sets or a lot of the songs from the different artists are recorded, and obviously the sound quality, the video quality are incredible. So that's definitely something I'm going to be watching between now and Mile. Listening to that, I mean, it's nothing else. I think it's going to be great background music, because it's music, just like you'd watch YouTube music. This is the same kind of thing, so it's pretty cool.
Nice, that's awesome. Speaking of having music in the background, I don't know if people are aware. We're big fans of Ledgestone and their Wind Down music series. They have a playlist on Spotify that has all of their bands as well. So if you type in Ledgestone, you can get that on Spotify as well, and get their playlist for the summer, which is pretty awesome to listen to. And they have some good bands. If you're not doing anything the day this comes out on Thursday, I definitely want to go out to Ledgestone and check out Mountain Grass Unit. Hopefully the weather cooperates. I'm not sure what is going to happen yet, but they're a great band and are a lot of fun to see as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Saw Tay in the Neighborly out there. Shout out to Tay. She follows us now on Instagram. I got pretty fired up. Texted the group, and I was probably a little more excited than I should have been, but I love her, and I love Ledgestone as well, Tosh. It's a fantastic place to go. And as you were talking, I just download Ledgestone Vineyards on Spotify, and everybody will know what I'm going to be listening to tomorrow.
That's excellent. I know there's been a lot of other stuff going on. We just had getting back into some sports. WIAA baseball was at Fox City's stadium. We had tons of upsets at the Division I level. I think number 8 and number 9 played each other for the state championship, which is awesome. You like to see the underdogs come out there, and they had some, decent weather for that as well. And unfortunately, Oshkosh native Tyrese went down with an injury, torn Achilles. So they did not pull out the championship. Hope the best for Tyrese. That's devastating, not only for him, but for the Pacers as well. So,
yeah, Oklahoma is a heck of a team. They've been the best from start to finish, but what a run by the Pacers. So cool for Tyrese. And
he'll be back.
So boy, though, Achilles, man, I shiver every time I hear that. That takes a while to come back. they actually had an interesting conversation. A couple of the sports, radio shows or whatever were talking about, because I forgot what game was it, game 4 or something. He kind of hurt his calf or
Game
whatever.
5, yeah.
Game 5. Yeah. And then to come, obviously you want to play game 7, right? But this happens here, and I think that happened to, I don't know. It was another good player. Same type of thing happened, calf injury, and then blew out the Achilles.
Well, Tatum went down. Jason Tatum went down in the playoffs, and Dame went down in the playoffs as well from Bucks.
Yeah.
So all 3 of those in the last few weeks, all Achilles injuries. So.
Yeah. Gosh darn it.
Yeah. Unfortunate. But not that these surgeries are getting more and more common, but they're learning more about them. Just like the ACL was once a big surgery, and now you come back pretty much as strong or stronger than ever. Hopefully these guys can come back as strong as ever as well.
That's really true, right, Tosh? I mean, the Tommy John surgery, we've talked about it on some episodes. I mean, that thing used to be, I feel like it was 2 years to come back. Now you're back in less than a year. And you're right. The Achilles, I think that's always been like a year-ish to get back. And, Rodgers, he didn't really play, but it's been a couple of guys, him, and I think there's a basketball player as well. I mean, they came back in, just weeks as opposed to a year.
Yeah.
A couple, maybe
I think
2 months.
Yeah. I think the going is 10 to 12 months. So we'll see how things go. And hopefully, he can come back strong and fast and be the same player he is. So that's the big hope for that. So you hate to see people go down with injuries like that.
Oh, absolutely. No doubt about it. Hey, we should also shout out, we did a Newsa Minute on them, but the Xavier girls, they're state champions in soccer.
Oh, nice.
They pitched a 2-0 shutout and they dominated. They pretty much rolled through. You can follow all that on appletonsportspage.com. But Xavier's a big backer of not only the Red Smith Banquet and everything we do, but they're actually a big fan of the Newsa-Cast, and they always like and subscribe to a lot of our social platforms, just like all of you folks should do if you've not already done so, right, Tosh?
Absolutely. That's where it comes. We get likes, we get subscribed, we get your friends listening, and we get to support youth sports in the Fox Valley. So keep doing all of that for us. And Joe, I guess it's probably time to get the show rolling. And circling and doing whatever we want to talk about with racing, and move it along to the interviews.
Yeah, let's do that, right? We usually get the show on the road, but I think we should start our engines instead,
there
right?
You go.
It's that time again, once again, for an old look at new, brought to you by Raleigh Winter and Associates, celebrating 55 years. Did you know that in 1962, an Appleton junior high school teacher with a strong work ethic started a residential realty company? His name, Raleigh Winter. 3 generations later, the Winters still hold true to a strong work ethic and an excellent reputation in the community. Today, Raleigh Winter and Associates remain actively involved in providing retail, office, and industrial users an affordable, well-designed working environment through the creation and/or acquisition of quality real estate in the Fox cities and even beyond new. So what do you say? Let's take an old look at new.
All right, Newsa-Cast listeners, it is time for a look at history or something that sparks our interest, and we call it an old look at new. So, Joe, what are you looking at this week?
Well, Tosh, I am old. That is correct. Well, Tosh, I saw our buddy Otis, the Flag Day Parade, and in the Memorial Day Parade. Obviously, that goes right by my house, and I tip of the cap to him. But it got me to thinking. We're about a week late on this, but Flag Day was just about a week and a half, 10 days ago, and we celebrate with a great big parade, one of the biggest in the state, biggest in the Midwest. But I came across this, that the first recognized Flag Day took place in Waubeka, Wisconsin. I don't know where Waubeka is, but on June 14th, 1885, Tosh. Okay. June 14th, 1885. A 19-year-old teacher. You don't have any 19-year-old teachers anymore, do you?
No, not really.
Yeah. Well, Bernard Sigran, that was his name. He was 19 years old. He placed a small American flag on his desk and had his students at Stony Hill School write an essay about the flag. 31 years later, President Woodrow Wilson, he proclaimed, that's when he proclaimed Flag Day. That was in 1949. So Mr. Sigran, he was way ahead of his time. So he was credited, at least in Wisconsin, as having the first recognized Flag Day, and we keep that tradition alive with our Flag Day parade.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Well, Tosh, how about you? What are you going to take a look at?
Well, I'm going back to 1947, and the exact date is June 24th. And on that day, we had a baseball game taking place, and this certain baseball player led off third base, and he waited for the Pirates' Fritz Ostermuller to get into the windup, and he broke for home and stole his first base of his major league career. He ended up stealing home 19 times, and that's the amazing number 42, Jackie Robinson.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I should have known that, actually. I think it was in the movie, I think.
Oh,
right?
yeah,
that was a great
absolutely.
movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Yeah.
Great movie.
Yeah.
42, yeah. Yeah, so it's pretty incredible. His first major league stolen base was home. But yeah, absolutely amazing. You can see video of that. I mean, you go to ESPN or you just type in Jackie Robinson's first stolen base, and you can see video of that. It's pretty amazing. I mean, it's amazingly dynamic player, but also just, human being and everything that he went through. Pretty incredible.
Yeah, people. I mean, the movie was great, but I don't even know if it did justice to. Can you imagine the amount of crap he took? I mean,
absolutely not.
You can't even begin to scratch the surface every single step of the way, from travel to trying to just get a good night's sleep. You can't even stay in the hotel. And
right.
But then it would have been great to see him play.
Oh,
he must have
gosh.
just dominated.
Yeah, that would have been amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, could you imagine that dugout, Tosh, when he takes off down the third base line and steals home? I mean, the opposing dugout had to just be dumbfounded.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and I guess I never realized that he actually stole home 19 times in his career, which is...
Yeah, I didn't realize either.
Absolutely. I mean, that's unheard of. So, yeah.
I'm going to have to go back and take a look. Like, I wonder what his technique was. I mean, I wonder if they had slower windups back then, or
I think they had
maybe they were
big windups.
Yeah, I think so too. I think you're right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm going to do a little YouTubing before bed tonight, and
there you go.
Look at old time baseball still at home.
Joe's going to be up until 3. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Up till 3.
Doesn't take much.
Sleep until 4, and then back up for work.
That's right. I need little sleep. Might get a little loopy, but I don't need much sleep.
Well, somebody who's not loopy is our sponsor.
Raleigh Winter, they're definitely not loopy. I bring the loopiness to that friendship. So yes, a big shout out to Raleigh Winter and Associates for sponsoring an old look at new.
All right, Newsa-Cast listeners, I was unfortunately out of the state. I was out in the Badlands when Joe got to do this interview with Dan Thomson and his sons Chase and Ty, and they talked a little bit of racing, which is incredible. We talked a little bit in the opening that this is something that it just grows and gets larger and larger. So it's a great interview. You're going to learn a little bit about WIR, about Slinger, but we also want to make sure that we shout out their sponsors. Dr. Pete at North Star Dental Group. Fantastic. He takes care of my kids' teeth and Melissa's. We have Mobile Party EFX Plus and Schulte Showers and Construction. So there's big sponsors for them, and we want to make sure that we got their names onto the Newsa-Cast as well. To give them a little bit of a shout out for sponsoring Dan and his racing team.
I was reading over your bio. It's pretty incredible. That's what I love about this podcast is we get to meet cool people like you guys that had no idea in our backyard that, I mean, you guys are racing. Chase, you can't even drive a car yet. You drive a race car. What the heck?
Yeah.
How does that work? So you literally, you're 14 years old, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you can't drive legally in the street, but yet you can go. I mean, you've raced WIR and Kaukauna already, right?
Yeah, I have.
I think you've done 5-6 different tracks.
Yeah.
What do your buddies think of that?
I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I'll bet. Well, so I mean, you guys are a true racing fan. I mean, Dan, first of all, how did you even get into this? I mean, I feel like you almost have to be born into racing because I mean, you're legit. Your schedule is and your WIR in Kaukauna on Thursday, and then Sundays you're in Slinger, and I mean, you're doing and amongst other things. But I mean, those are the big ones. So I mean, how does somebody get into racing?
Yeah, you bet. I actually like you said, it's a family thing. So my dad raced back in the 70s. My uncle Paul, he raced back in the 70s. He was track champion out of WIR. I was 6 weeks old when I went to my first race. So
oh wow,
my parents actually have one of those like first year calendars, and yeah, 6 weeks old I was at my first race out of WIR, and so I've been in love with it since, and these two have kind of just dragged along the way with me.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I'm sure it's the same thing. I mean, you guys, for those that are listening, we don't put this out on video necessarily. So we have Dan and we have Chase, his two sons, Ty as well. And I mean, Ty, I mean, you're fresh out of diapers and you're in a car as well, just following in Dad's footsteps.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. So your dad's racing. So you're literally born into this. So I've got to imagine it is locally for local tracks. I mean, there seems to be a nostalgia. Are we kind of special in Wisconsin with the local tracks? It's not like this all over the United States.
No, it's not. I mean, I think we're very blessed in Wisconsin to have all the short tracks we do, both asphalt and dirt. And I'll tell you right away, I think dirt's dirty, but we have a lot of friends, and obviously Chase is racing, out in Seymour this year on the dirt, and we are blessed. I've been able to live through work. We kind of traveled around the country for a little bit. So I lived out in Connecticut and lived in Southern California for 3 years. And the amount of short tracks we have in Wisconsin compared to everywhere else is just amazing. And so great short tracks, great people, great car counts, stuff you don't see everywhere else. It's pretty awesome.
Is it a lot of family history? I mean, are you seeing generations of family racers?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of the friends we have, either they're second generation or they're racing and their kids are now racing too. So it's definitely a very family oriented sport.
Is the goal, so you're born into a racing family, I mean, is the goal to race the local track? Are some better? I mean, is Kaukauna the place you want to be? Is Slinger the place you want to be? I mean, what is the thought process?
Man, I appreciate you thinking we've thought that far through. Candidly speaking, personally speaking, I'm just blessed right now to be able to run the late model that I do. I actually race for a car owner his name's Pete McVeigh. He owns my late model and he races them as well. And so I'm fortunate that he gives me that opportunity. I probably couldn't do it on my own by any means. And so definitely blessed to be given the opportunities we have. I think every single racer has dreams and you sit there and you want to make it to NASCAR. You want to do all that. I think in reality, we all know it's not the case. And so we're out there just having a ball, doing the dumb, stupid fun we have as often as we can.
I'm assuming you guys all get the same high, get the same adrenaline as a NASCAR racer, just that starting that competition really, I guess, is that what you're feeling?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I do. I know it's, you've got nerves all day up to the race. The most calm I am is when I'm actually buckled in the car, waiting in line, ready to go. That's when kind of like your Zen moment, right? I'm safe inside there. I'm good to go. I know exactly what my job and mission is here, and we go out and have some fun. I know what you guys think.
I'm the opposite. I get most nervous right before the race, and then when I'm actually on the track racing, it's like no nerves at all, and everything's gone.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So you're nervous right before start. That's when you're most nervous, and then once those wheels get going, it's automatic for you.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We'll use that.
Yeah, me too. Like what Chase said, I normally get really nervous right before the race, but then once I start racing, I only focus on the race.
Yeah. So when you guys are in school on the night you race that night, you're in school. How is school that day? Are you nervous during the day, or is it are you fired up to go to school and then know that you have a race at night?
It's like I can't wait to go racing. I like sit in class all the days, like thinking about racing. I don't know. It kind of gets me nervous.
Little butterflies in the stomach, right?
Yeah.
So what's your dream? You want to be on the NASCAR circuit someday? We'll watch you on NBC and going around the track at the Daytona 500.
Yeah, hopefully someday.
Yeah, that'll be pretty cool. Who do you guys look up to in the racing world? Who can you follow up onto the big track that started like you guys are?
Tom Majeski, I think, probably.
Yeah.
He started short track racing here, and then worked his way up to NASCAR.
Yeah, he actually started in go-karts as well, right? So he ran go-karts, then he moved himself up to stock cars, and now last year he won the Craftsman Truck Series championship. So
sure. So I'm a lot like your Uncle Rich. I know the stick and ball skills, and I know how to referee. So you guys are going to have to talk to me like I'm 5 years old about racing, but I'm really curious to understand how it works. So I know you start in go-karts just like you guys. So can you kind of walk me through the stages up to where your dad is, where Dan is, and what he races?
I kind of started like in entry-level go-karts when I was 5. Kind of just got there and they had the go-karts there for you. Then when I was 6, I built my own go-kart and raced for a while. Now I'm racing a Sizzle M4, which is like the cheaper class, I'd say.
And is that still a go-kart, or is that more of like a car?
No, it's like a stock car.
Yeah, okay, with an engine.
Mm-hmm.
So how different is it to drive that as opposed to a go-kart? A lot different?
It's way harder and more fun.
Yeah, I'll bet. Is your seat special? I'm kind of a short guy. I kind of have to lift up when I'm driving the car. How do you see over the steering wheel?
We have like a foam block that we put under my seat, and then I can see over the steering wheel. And then I also put the steering wheel all the way down so I can see.
And seat mounted and everything. We have it up elevated a little higher as well in the roll cage.
Sure. Is that same thing? I mean, I'm assuming you have gas and brake pedal, thing like that. You have to modify that at all too?
No, I didn't have to modify any of that.
Nice. I'm assuming sometimes you make a mistake. How do you overcome a mistake? Is that kind of how you learn? Is it just reflexes? Like what's your thought process when you're racing and something doesn't quite go right for you?
It's like, I don't know, kind of, it's a learning process. Like it's still my second year. I'm still learning. I'm just trying to learn the ropes still kind of.
Sure.
So when I make a mistake, it's like I'm trying to learn that way around the track.
I must say, after reading, it doesn't really seem like you make too many mistakes, though.
One of the things about racing is it's probably the most humbling sport you'll ever have, right? So you can go from a week where you win a feature to the next week you've got a car that's wrecked, right? And so, or you've got a car that's got mechanical problems or electrical problems. And so it's very much highs and lows come really quick with racing. But it teaches you a ton, right? It teaches you how to face adversity. It teaches you how to overcome it. Never give up. You know what I mean? If we give up every time you hit an obstacle, there'd be no race car drivers out there, right? And so
sure.
I think that's to me some of the fun stuff that you learn about racing.
Yeah, great life skill. You can find every episode on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube, or any podcast app. Follow our social accounts for show updates, local events, inspirational content, or simply for fun. Follow us on Facebook, X, TikTok, Blue Sky, or Instagram. Please contact the Newsa-Cast to share your story, offer a suggestion of a particular athlete or sport, or even an idea, or just simply say hello. Newsa-Cast@gmail.com. Now, Ty, I was reading, so you're in the kids' kart club, and that sounds pretty cool. It sounds like not only are you learning how to race cars, but you're learning how to maintain them and build them and everything about racing. Am I right?
Yeah.
How do you like that?
It's really fun. I started when I was 6 racing.
Nice.
And before that, I was watching Chase race, and once I started, it was like very fun, and I wasn't like that scared right away because I could see Chase racing.
Yeah, following Big Brother. Do you guys ever race each other?
No.
Just around the yard on dirt bikes.
So did you guys? So do you race bikes and dirt bikes? It seems like you pretty much race anything that has wheels.
No, I don't race dirt bikes.
Yeah, the only thing we really do with the motorcycles is out at WIR every year they have Doc's Harley Davidson in Bondwell. They rent the racetrack and do Doc's Legal Country Drags, and so I was ready to race my motorcycle out there. And these guys bring their dirt bikes out, and there's a kids division, and so they drag race out there with a handful of kids that show up that day to race. And so it's pretty much the main two-wheel racing we do. Everything else we try to keep on four.
How many kids? I mean, is there a circuit for you guys? I mean, there's obviously different age divisions. How are the numbers? Are there a lot of kids racing? Is it a popular sport? Would you say?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say at the Kids Kart Club, I'd say we probably have around 60 different kids that are there.
Excellent.
Slinger's got a Kids Kart Club as well. They race on Wednesday nights, and so I know they've got a bunch of kids as well. Probably 60 to 80 kids down there that race. And there's a couple other go-kart tracks in the area. One up in Clintonville, and then the one in Cecil. I know those are packed on their nights as well.
Yeah, no, that's terrific. What a great opportunity for the kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
The car, the actual car, Dan, I guess probably this is more of a question for you, but I'm curious, how does it work with the car? Who owns the car? How do you become a racer? Are you guys I guess how does that work? I guess starting with the car.
Yeah, a lot of people buy their own cars. They own their own equipment. I'm very fortunate. Pete McVeigh actually owns my car. He's been a friend of mine for years. Back in 2018, I hooked up with him. One of his best friends, Kurt Schweitzer, and I've been racing together since 2012, and we've done a lot of the enduros together. And Pete needed some help down in New Smyrna, Florida, when he was going down there to race for the week-long Asphalt World of Speed. And so went down there, spent the week down there with him, helped him out, as his crew member down there. When he came back up here, just stayed in contact with him, and he came out and watched me race a couple of years back at Dallas Raceway Park in one of our 300-lap enduros. And I had some mechanical problems early on, but he sat there watching the race, and he said the last 100 laps, the only person that passed me was the leader, passed me once. He goes, nobody else did. And so when I got off the track, he literally looked at me and said, you just auditioned for riding my late model. Man, I thought he was joking. I really did. I don't think I even told Chase that he was joking that day. And sure enough, that's what it was. And so he lets me race the car. It's a 1995 Coleman chassis. So the WIR quarter mile late models, it's supposed to be an economical series. We all run 602 crate Chevrolet engines. So all the engines are exactly the same. It's meant to take older chassis like this one. So stuff that's kind of sitting in barns, sitting around, and get those back on the track. We have anywhere between, I think this year we've had 14 to 18 different cars that are racing weekly at WIR with us. And everyone's pretty close to the same. We're all within about half a second of each other on the track. It's, like I said, Chevy crate engine. It's a late model stock car. So you've got all the, stock car parts in there. It's got the full roll cage, obviously, the full seats. We do have spotters and all that. So I've got someone talking to me in my ear as we're going on the tracks with the way these containment seats are in there, and we have the head and neck devices on. It's really hard to see around and see anybody else around the car. And so that's really how, I got into it is Pete's he's got two cars. He races himself. And like I said, I've just been fortunate enough for the last, this is our third year racing together that he's been letting me do that. And then Slinger started the division last year called 602 Creator. So any vehicle that's got a 602 crate engine. So we race with trucks, we race with modifieds, we have late models, we have all late models. So 4 different classes of cars kind of all coming together. They're doing a great job down there trying to get the rules packages to be pretty even. And Slinger's the world's fastest quarter mile. I mean, we're going on that track in 12 seconds. It's a riot. And so just kind of blessed to be able to do what we do. We race, 9-10 times up here at WIR, and we've got 6 races down there. So it's pretty fun to be able to put that schedule together. It does make for a busy summer, but it's a lot of fun.
Oh, it's insane, your schedule. So car gets, I'm assuming there's obviously there has to be maintenance. So how is that all done? One, I suppose you have double maintenance, one during the week and then in race. as well.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Every week, my crew chief, Tim Richter, he's been one of my friends for years and one of the guys I used to race with in 4-cylinders back at WIR. One of the guys that, has helped me a ton through the years. Him and I do a shop night every week. We're out there, we go through the car. Hopefully if there's, minimal damage from, any wrecks, stuff like that, it's really going through the whole car, doing nut and bolt check, making any changes you want to do. As we go back and forth from Slinger to WIR, we've got to change gears. We got to go through and change some of our suspension parts and components. And then you go back through and you scale the whole car again. So you get everything set back up to make sure that the car is where it's at. The weights are where they want to be. And, left side weight percentages, cross. There's a ton of math that's involved with racing. And that's, these two, they're both great at math. And it's awesome to be able to teach them the stuff as you go, is using the stuff that you see inside of a classroom, right? How do you figure out the left side percent when you've got, 4 corners of weights and total weights? And how do you figure out the cross as you're looking, at the total weight and the 4 different corners and doing the math. And so to me, that's kind of some of the fun with them. But you go through the car every week. I probably spend somewhere between 8 to 10 hours a week just maintaining the car, getting it ready to go. And then obviously if you wreck, it could be anywhere from another 10 to 12 hours there, but hopefully we don't do that too often.
Right. And like the sheet metal to make the car look nice each week after a wreck, I mean, is that's got to be, I'm assuming, labor intensive to do that?
Yeah, I hate body work too. It doesn't make you go any faster. It definitely is. There's a lot of it. A lot of the stuff, the panels and stuff we end up buying, right? So 5-Star makes the panels. You kind of just buy a lot of those. But you still have to cut them all. You have to form them. You have to pop over them on and everything. And so there's definitely a lot of work that goes into that. So that's what I try our best to keep it clean, keep our nose clean. His is more stock. If we got a body panel that's too beat up for it, we go to the junkyard and pick up a new one and put it on.
Gotcha. Yeah. So in race, how far is the race? How many miles are you going?
So my quarter mile late model, we race up at WIR. We have 2 features a night that are 15 laps. So they're not too long. Down at Slinger, kind of the course of the night is you have a practice session when you first get to the track. So you have a practice session, then you have qualifying. And then at WIR, we have the 2 different features. And at Slinger, we typically have a heat race and then a feature. Heat races are normally about 8 laps, and the features are anywhere from 30 to 35 laps.
Sure. So then between the qualifying and the race, you're doing car work, getting everything tweaked.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you're going in there, you're checking your tire sizes, your pressures, you're getting everything lined up. You've got to make sure you've got the right splits in the back for Stager and everything, and your front Stager, and make sure that's good. You're setting the sway bar, you're getting the car ready to go, it's gassed up in between each of the sessions. So every time I come off the track, we've got to check tire temps. We check tire pressure. So you want to make sure the tires are wearing evenly across. And so, Ty's probably one of the better ones with the temp gauge. He's sitting in there with the temp gauge pressing the tires. Don't tell Chase I said that.
Yeah.
I fired my brother Rob a couple weeks ago because he wasn't doing it right. But but they're actually going through reading it. We'll have one person taking temps. You'll have one person checking tire pressures and sizes. You want to see how much it's growing during the race. If it's not wearing evenly across, if you're getting too much wear on the inside or outside or in the middle, then we'll make some adjustments to the car to make sure you're using as much of the tire as you can. So that's a lot of the course of the night. Obviously, again, hopefully you don't wreck anything in between the races either that you got to fix. Sometimes
right.
You're scrambling doing that, but a lot of it's the small minor adjustments that you're trying to make to get that car to turn a little better, to go a little faster. Man, you're never satisfied as a racer. We always want more. We always want more speed. We always want it to corner better. And so we're always trying to find what that next little bit is. And man, we're wrong. Probably, I don't say more often we are, but the cool thing about racing is you learn, right? You're always learning. I'll make an adjustment thinking, okay, everything, I've got books that we bring with us that you can go in there and look at and see, give you ideas for adjustments, and you try something, think it's going to work, and then it doesn't. And so now I learned that, right? And I learned that's not the way I want to go. You kind of asked Chase before about learning during the race. That'll happen too, right? I drove that corner in too deep. Next time I got to back it up a little bit more. So it's all just that constant learning that's fun to be in, and be able to see and try to think, what can I do to be better for the next time? Whether it's the next lap during the race, whether it's I'm in the pits and again I want to come off the corner better. I want a little more bite. What do I need to do? That type of stuff.
2 quick questions on adjustments. So if you make a car adjustment after you're qualifying and it isn't quite what you had hoped for, and you're in those 15 laps, there's no change in that, right? You're just or do you have time? You're just going?
Nope, you're going. Yeah, no, that's it. one of the things I actually think I've learned the most, so the other kind of racing I do for fun is I run 300 lap enduros. And so that's taking a 4-cylinder stock car that's, just what you'd see on the road. We throw a roll cage in it and go out and run 300 laps with the Impact Survival Series. And that you're out there racing for 200 laps before we get a 20-minute break. And then there's a 100-lap finish. And so you've got 200 laps where if the car's not handling right, you've got to learn how to drive it right then. And you've got to learn how to be patient. You got to learn to keep the wheels under you. So I think I've learned how to take the car given to me and figure out what I need to do to drive it to the best I can. And then, obviously once you're done there, you want to make some changes and try to make it better for the next one. But you're kind of stuck with what you got during that.
Sure. How is it a pretty physical sport as far as, I mean, I would imagine if the steering wheel does, I just imagine cranking on the steering wheel needing upper strength or core strength to stay in the seat. How physical is the sport?
It's definitely physically demanding. You're definitely sore the next day after you get done racing. You can feel it in your arms, you can feel it in your legs. Because the other thing you're doing is you're constantly moving, right? You're in the pits, you're moving stuff up and down. You've got tires, you're moving around, you've got toolboxes. So you're constantly on the go. So you definitely feel it, I think, the next day. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah.
You guys are still young. You don't know what the meaning of sore is yet. Right. One other question too I had for you on adjustments. So are you getting in race kind of instructions or help? You talked about maybe taking a corner too high, too low. Is that maybe that's something you can feel? Is that you getting help from upstairs as well?
So like I said before, we do have spotters. Team Director is my main spotter. He typically tries to not, I'll say, drive the car for me. He'll watch. He loves that. His main thing is to tell me where the other cars are, though. So main thing is, you ready? Do you have a car on the outside of me as a car on the inside, just to make sure I'm not coming down and I'm staying in the right spot on the track. Especially, the outside right side of us is really hard to see. So if someone's on the outside of me trying to pass me, it's really hard for me to see. And so knowing that, obviously the stuff in front of me is all mine. I can see he's more kind of telling us what's behind me, but
sure.
Definitely opportunities, especially during practice sessions. If he sees something, he'll say, that was a really good corner. Hey, whatever you did that time, that was really good. That was a good lap time. And so kind of gives that, more during practice, I'd say, than the race, just as you're trying to continuing to learn and try to make that try to find that extra tenth. Everyone wants that extra tenth of a second.
Oh, I'll bet. So you mentioned just being in the car is kind of your zen spot. How do you feel when the boys are racing? What's that feel like for you?
I'm a nervous wreck. My friends like to joke I'll stand up in the stands and kind of like pace back and forth a little bit and watch. But I'm pretty nervous.
Guys, how do you feel when your dad's racing? Are you excited? Are you nervous? What do you think?
I'm excited. I'm not really nervous.
What are your jobs on race day? What are your jobs? How do you help out Dad?
Oh, we take tire temps. We spot for him in practice when spotter Timmy isn't there yet.
Okay.
We, help out load and unload the car.
Yeah, a little bit of everything.
Whatever we can do.
So I've never worn one, but I got to believe wearing the racing suit's got to be about the coolest thing in the world, huh?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's like a super suit.
Yeah, I'll bet. Did you ever go as a Halloween costume when you were real young? Did you wear those?
Yep.
Yeah, there you go. I love that. I went as a referee too. So. Well, what else, boys, now do you have coming up? When are your next races? What's your summer look like for racing?
This Tuesday, I race go-karts the races start at about 6:15. We'll start racing, and then, so there's, I think, 5 divisions. There's rec, novice, intermediate, junior, pro, and then there's sprints, which are like a sprint car that there is on like about a quarter-mile track, and it's a lot of fun racing there. Also, yeah, I'm in junior.
Nice.
There's 3 races, 1 heat that's about 8 laps. Then there's a feature that's 20. And then there's another heat that's about 8 laps. maybe a couple times this summer, or probably at least once this summer. I'm going to go down to Slinger and race there with my go-kart.
Very nice.
Race the kids' car club there.
Well, good luck to you there. That's a heck of a summer. I don't think many kids have that kind of schedule.
I race every Friday at Seymour, and then I'm gonna try and get to the white and blue race at DBR, and then Nina Wrestling has a night this summer. I think it's like July 10th, and
Nice.
try and get all the wrestlers out. Get me, my dad, and Josh Miller. That's one of the coaches for Nina. A bunch of wrestlers are going to watch the races that night. And then I'm trying to do the fall brawl at Seymour and at 141. And then I'm also trying to do some ISS Enduros.
Well, that's a busy schedule as well. Incredible. And Dan, I know you're off to a pretty good start, right? 7 top 10s, 4 top 5s, right? You got to be pretty happy to the start of your season.
Yeah, so far it's been a really good year. I struggled, let's say, opening day both at Slinger and out at WIR, and we've rebounded since. Knock on wood, we haven't had any other DNFs, and so been really happy with the season. We got one heat race win down at Slinger, which was pretty awesome. It's the first time I've been to victory lane down there, so haven't had that feature win yet this year. We had a couple last year, last couple of years, so hoping to get that yet this year. But having a ride and consistent finishes is kind of the big thing, and we always say you try to go forward during the course of the night, right? So if you start 6th, you want to end, 5th or higher, that type of stuff.
Sure.
So it's definitely what we continue to try to do.
What does race day look for you? I mean, what time are you? I guess let's start with Slingers, maybe a little bit further away. What does a day look? I mean, are you even able to work during the day? What's a day look like race day?
Yeah, luckily Slingers on Sundays, and so it gives us a little more opportunity. Majority of the races are at night, and so we'll probably get to the shop around noon normally. Start to load the car up by about 1:30. We're on the road headed down there. Practice normally starts about 4 o'clock, and then we're normally back on the road after the races, probably 10:30, and stop, drop the car off, and home by about midnight.
Yeah, that's a full day for sure.
Monday mornings become definitely tiring after that one. That's for sure.
Oh, I would imagine. Do you watch? I'm always curious. It's a weird question that I like to ask people, but film. Do you watch film of your races? Can you get better at racing through film?
100%. Absolutely. Yeah. I personally love it. All of our Slinger races this year are broadcast on Flow. So Flow Sports. And
Sure.
so it's been great to be able to go back. We were actually at the track last week after the heat race. We pulled it up and we were able to watch our heat race and look from it and try to learn a little bit off that right away. So it's definitely it's something that I've learned a lot from. How about you too?
Yeah. My mom videotapes a lot of the races too, so I can watch it afterwards and see like what's going on in the races and what I'm doing and what I need to improve on track wise.
Is it sometimes different than what you remember than what actually happened?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of shocking when that happens.
Yeah. How about you?
Yeah, a lot like what Chase said. I also like watching, like seeing if I can find my mistakes.
Yeah.
What happened if I went in too deep, like if I'm coming out too fast, like if I'm not going, like if I'm not running like faster laps.
Yeah.
Also, me and one other driver, Oliver, he races Super Cups and go-karts.
Yeah.
Me and him are very close racing.
Excellent. Shout out Oliver. No, that's good to hear. And I'm excited for you guys.
Definitely have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
Keeps us busy for sure.
Oh, it certainly does. And I know you'd mentioned once that I guess in your off time, maybe in the winter, you guys are wrestlers at Nina.
Yeah.
I coach both our youth and our middle school, and then, now a high schooler and a middle school wrestler.
Yeah, wrestling's we've had a couple of different people in the wrestling world on our podcast, and it's an awesome sport. I mean, there's no better state tournament than the wrestling state tournament. down in Madison. It's awesome. And yeah, good for you guys. Is your wrestling club pretty big? I know Nina has a really good, successful wrestling program, don't they?
Yeah, it's great. The coaches there are amazing. They try and improve you as a human too, and not just as a wrestler.
I like to hear that.
They try and get you better outside of wrestling too. They make sure your life is straight and everything, and you're on the right path to succeed in life.
Well, that's really cool to hear, and that's, as an old guy, I really like to hear that from Coach. That's the way you should be, Coach, and that's real life lessons. So I'm happy to hear that, and congratulations to that group for coaching kids like that. Northeast Wisconsin Sports Advancement, or Newsa, is a nonprofit org where our mission is to raise money, provide support, and bring greater awareness to youth sports organizations in Northeast Wisconsin. We do this primarily through the Red Smith Sports Award Banquet and the Newsa-Cast. Each year, we give back to the community through the Every Kid Plays grant. If you are considering donating or providing support through Newsa, please visit redsmith.org for details. Well, we can't end without talking about Dick Trickle, right? Dan, what's your take on Dick Trickle, a character, a Wisconsin legend, but tell me about Dick Trickle from your eyes.
Yeah, I mean, first off, right, Dick was 99. Obviously, all three of us raced number 99. So, no, I got it from my dad. My dad raced 99. I think one of the reasons he picked it was right with Dick Trickle and everything, too. When I was in high school, I grew up, I was on a pit crew for Randy Gittner down at WIR. He raced number 99. So, I've got a sweatshirt that's number 99 Dick Trickle, one that I'll constantly wear at the racetracks. And so, to me, he was the one growing up. Him and Alan Quickie are the ones that, from my point of view, were the ones to look for as to those guys made it, right? That's who we constantly talked about. That's who we saw. You'd see him around here at the local short tracks. You know, Dick would come back here and race. You'd see him all around. So to me, Dick was he was one of those guys. He used to joke here. He'd race 8 nights a week, which they raced twice on Sunday. He did it for a living. He did local short track racing. He made a living out of it, and so to be able to do that. That would be a dream come true. I know people want to talk about NASCAR and go to NASCAR. He actually held back and didn't go to NASCAR as early as he could have because he could make more money sitting around here racing. And so, being with his family, to me, that's pretty awesome. That would be the dream come true. If we could race, 4 or 5, 6 nights a week and do stuff like that and make money at it. It's definitely not the way that local short track racing is today.
Right.
But definitely that'd be the dream come true of all that. So, to me, yeah, he's one of the legends that everyone kind of looks up to.
Are you able to? I mean, are you guys even able to recoup your? I guess without sponsors, or would you even be able to recoup your expenses?
No, not at all. It's definitely a labor of love, financially speaking.
Sure,
but our sponsors help. Right, we've got some great marketing sponsors with us that definitely help support it. But again. With myself, with my car owner, Pete McVeigh, I couldn't do that without him. And so it's definitely not something that you're going to make a bunch of money on. Quarter mile lates were actually pretty economical, like I said before. And so throughout the course of the year, as long as you're not damaging too much, it's not too bad. We run all used tires. We don't buy new tires, stuff like that. The 602 engines run pump gas, so we're not buying race gas. So there's a lot of advantages and cost savings, I'd say, to what we were able to do, but it's definitely it's not a cheap sport by any means.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you about the tires, especially with the last couple of years, cost of everything seems to go up, and I'm sure tires do too. How long does a pair of tires last for you?
So for me, I'll end up going through right side tires. Typically last about one race. Again, we're getting used tires, so these are the super late models, the cream of the crop guys out at WIR, Slinger, and stuff like that. They run these tires, and then we get them used, and so. I'll maybe get a race, sometimes 2 out of a right side tires. Left sides are a little harder compound, and we'll get a couple more weeks out of them. But everything I get, it's used tires from local guys just around here who are looking to pass them down, and then we can race them. And then Chase is what about you?
Mine are about rear tires, well, what, 4 races maybe? 5.
Yeah.
And then right front, 1 or 2. And then left front, we just take the right front and then put it to the left front. So I guess 2 then.
Yeah.
So again, we have to pretend that I'm 5 years old, but you mentioned that the tires and the compound are each the tires, are they a little bit slightly different on each 4?
So on the late models there are, there's left side and right side tires. We this year currently what Hoosier's got out there. So I race Hoosier tires. That's what we run. Chase ones, your typical street tire is what's on Chase's car, Ty's go-karts. He's got the same ones on there since 2017 when we built the cart. But our race tires are Hoosier race tires. So there's ST1s that you run on the left side, ST2s that you run on the right side. It is a slightly different compound between the two different tires, and definitely want it kind of helps set up the car as you get the grip and cornering and helps with all that.
The other thing I wanted to ask you too, just technology, since you first, in the couple of decades that you've been racing it, has technology helped with maintenance and getting all your math equations correct and all of that kind of things? Is that kind of, I'm assuming that's sort of expanded here over the years? Yeah,
absolutely. When I was in high school helping Randy get there, we had literally old grain scales that farmers had, right? And they'd weigh their bags of grain on. And so we were sitting on his garage with pen and paper, trying to figure out total weight, left side, just figure out cross and doing the math percentages. Now our scales, we got a wireless set of scales. So it all comes up. You roll the car on there and you can see all the different percentages. Everything's there for you. So that portion of it's all helped. I'd say in the 4 cylinders, some of the technology makes it a little more difficult that, like chase races. These cars nowadays have so much with computers and with the fuel injection and everything and some of the theft systems and all that we're taking cars that are raced on the streets, driven on the streets, hopefully not raced out there, driven on the streets for years, and turning them into race cars, welding roll cages in, putting that kind of stuff in. And so some of that, as you take it and strip it down, can cause more problems almost now than what we would have had 10 years ago with some of our older cars when I was first starting to build these.
Sure. And Chase would never race in the street.
Oh, no, not yet. Yeah.
Yeah, it still blows me away. Can't drive legally in the street, but go like hell on a quarter mile.
Some of the biggest things we have is when we both want to race in a day is just finding someone else to pull the car and trailer for him.
Yeah. That's funny. Well, gosh, it's been a pleasure to get to know you guys. What a life you guys live. I'm excited. I'm going to have to get out to Kaukauna and watch you guys race for sure.
Hey, you come on out one Thursday. Let us know ahead of time. You can come down to the pits. We'll have you down there all night with us. You can see firsthand all the action.
Heck yeah, I'd love that for sure. My next Thursday off, and let's hope it doesn't rain. I'll take you up on that offer.
There you go. Sounds good.
Well, thank you guys, and stay safe. Good luck, and you have a new fan for sure.
Awesome. Thanks. Nice meeting you.
All right, Newsa-Cast listeners, welcome to our interview, our throwback interview, and that is with the one and only Dave Cowens. Cowens was a basketball player, professionally played for the Celtics, and also played for the Bucks.
I mean, I knew Dave Cowens was a great basketball player. But I'm sure a lot of the younger people probably never heard of him. But holy cow, you and I started looking at his stats. I mean, the Celtics, the Boston Celtics, the parquet floor. I mean, we all remember them, and he won 2 championships with them in the 70s.
He did.
Incredible team. And then that morphed. He played with Larry Bird as Bird's rookie year. And of course, you know, I don't know if a lot of you remember the 80s Celtics. They were incredible too. But yeah, Dave Cowens, incredible player.
Yep.
And I forgot he played for the Bucks too.
And he was also, I mean, 1971, he was the rookie of the year. And in 73, he was the MVP. So,
yeah. Incredible. Yeah. I mean, he's in the Hall of Fame. The Celtics retired his number. I mean, he's a legit stud.
He is a legit stud. He was a 4th overall pick in 1970. And, you know, we're lucky enough in 2004 to have him come to the Red Smith Banquet.
Yeah, absolutely. Just incredible. The names that have come to the Red Smith Banquet blow me away. And so do these throwbacks, because you and I kind of forget. We've gone to a lot of the banquets, but you only hear it once. I don't ever really go back and re-listen. Wow, some of them are so funny. And Dave is no exception. You're going to listen to a Hall of Fame NBA player that was the finest center in all the world for mid-70s, right, Tosh?
Absolutely. And, you know, if you really do like this clip of this throwback, remember that you can go to our YouTube channel on Sunday and get the entire interview where you get to hear Dave talk to the Red Smith Banquet from 2004.
The Red Smith Sports Award Banquet.
The main reason that this banquet was established was to honor at least 10 local area people who might not have been honored for the job they do to help in sports.
The Red Smith Award, of course, goes to someone who has made some unique contributions to sport.
Who has made a significant contribution to sports in the state of Wisconsin.
And also epitomizes the great values that Red Smith exhibited.
Let's give a Red Smith welcome.
It is truly an honor this evening to introduce the 2004 Nice Guy Award to Dave Cowens.
You can stay standing if you like for a while. I know you'd probably like to stretch a little. Just like to say now, this is 2004. 30 years ago, there was a basketball game played in Milwaukee against the Milwaukee Bucks and the Boston Celtics, 7th game of the championship series. And I don't want to apologize for the Celtics winning that particular series. I just want to apologize for taking us so long and putting you through so much misery during the process. I just want to see if you're paying attention out there. Right now, I'm really don't have a team to talk about. I'm not coaching right now, so I can't tell you about different players. But I've been spending a lot of time back home in the Cincinnati area, and it's been really a blessing in disguise because I've been having a chance to spend time with my parents who, you know, I left home in 1966 and was just a visitor from that time on. So for the last almost 2 years now, I've had a chance to really be with them on a, you know, almost a daily basis, and going to the doctors and doing all the different things you do with your parents and reconnecting. But you know how it is with elderly people and driving. Sometimes it's sort of difficult to get the keys from them because they want their independence, and I can understand that. My mother very much adheres to the rules. But see, the other day she gets pulled over for going too slow. She's going 25 miles an hour in a 55-mile-an-hour zone limit. And the policeman said, why are you going so slow? She says, well, it says 27. He says, no, that's the highway 27. It's not the speed limit. So he looks in the back and he sees my Aunt May, who she had taken to the doctors, and she's all disheveled. She's kind of in the back, her feet are up in the air, her hair's all messed up. He says, what's wrong? She said, we just got off of I-275. I got to keep an eye on her for sure. You know, I was very lucky in the course of my career because I didn't sustain any any serious injuries. I got to play a lot of minutes. I think my first 4, 5, 6 years, I averaged well over 40 minutes a game. And, if you're playing that much, you should get some numbers. You should be able to get, double all the time. Everybody talks about doubles, and it's not a big deal, really, if you get in the time. But I played against some awfully good players, and people badmouth the NBA a lot now. They say, I don't like it the way it plays. But I'm going to tell you, if you don't bring it every night, you're going to get beat. Because these guys don't play around. They're big, they're tough, they're strong, they can shoot, they can run, and they're smart, and they're tough. Bill Russell used to say that. These are some tough people. It's just like professional football. And you look at it, you take all these college players that go out and have great careers. They can't make it in the NBA. They can't make it on the next level. Maybe they're out of position, they're too small. Maybe they just don't want to sacrifice. Maybe they can't take the punishment. I've seen quite a few players come into our training camps, and they just can't deal with the effort, the running, the physical nature of it. A big guy, 30-year-old man beating up on them every day, twice a day. They don't want it that much, and that's a big part of it, just trying to wear people down. But I was lucky, and I learned an awful lot from different coaches that I had along the way. I was never a trash talker. I didn't really say anything to anybody because I was kind of afraid of a lot of the guys out there. A lot of them were bigger than I was. But to be humble and to really respect the game and know where you come from, and respect the game, that is the most important thing. That's the mother lode. And you can't disrespect the game. That's the most important thing. And then respect your teammates and your opponents and understand what they can do, their strengths and their weaknesses, and play the game in an intelligent fashion. But you can't do very much about it if you're not in shape and you don't have the skill base to deal with all the situations. I'd like to say that coming up here, I was down yesterday in Fort Lauderdale trimming some palm trees, and so I got on a plane at 6:50 and came through Atlanta, and I look forward to coming up here. I'm not a guy that goes out on the speaking tour or anything like that, as you can probably tell. But I'd like to tell you that I really applaud what you're doing and what's been going on here for many, many years. This is a community that I certainly would want to raise my children in, and because it seems like everybody has that same spirit of togetherness and wants to do all the right things. So keep on doing it. Give. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Alrighty, Tosh, another fantastic throwback. Dave Cowens, Boston Celtic, retired NBA Hall of Famer. And we're just like Tosh said before, you can get all of those episodes and many, many more at the Newsa-Cast YouTube page. We appreciate the like, the subscribe, the share, tell a friend. It really, really helps. Well, Tosh, we're getting close to the end of another fantastic Newsa-Cast, but we always like to do a little bad good. It's forgotten, and I'm never forgetting. So what's forgotten in your world, Tosh?
Well, I'll tell you, I was out in the Badlands hiking in 95-degree heat. Come back to Wisconsin, 95-degree heat. Had a little bit of a nice weather in there out in Black Hills, but the heat and the humidity, yep. When you just step outside and your skin starts to just drip, yeah, it's I'll forget this heat. I know I will probably be like in January, February saying I wish it was hot again, but right now you have to take what you have, and I want to forget the heat.
Yeah, 6 months, Tosh. It's Christmas and it's cold.
Exactly. It's Christmas, it's cold, and we'll be begging for 85, 90-degree weather.
Yes. You guys can't see it, but Tosh looked a lot like me right now. I'm in a room that doesn't have air conditioning, and my shirt's pretty soaked right now.
Well, maybe you want to never forget laundry detergent. But Joe, what would you like to forget right now?
That's good, Tosh. I'm making my shopping list. Thank you for that. Well, Tosh, it's back. It was never forgotten, and I thought it was. And I'm talking about Fish's stage setup, Tosh. They're back to the 90s setup. Page side, Trey side, Mike and Trey right in the middle. Fantastic, Tosh. I know all the Newsa-Cast listeners were wondering, probably excited when they saw the live stream come through on Friday night. It's like, oh my God, this is the 90s again.
Bringing back some memories.
No, it was kind of cool. I never thought they'd go back to that setup again, but that's why I saw a lot of Fish shows with that setup, and it's always been kind of near to dear to my heart. And we all know I like Fish on this Newsa-Cast, and whenever I get a chance to talk about them, I like to just throw a little nugget of Fish out there for all you folks.
So it was forgotten, and now it's back. So
that's right.
Very
That's
nice.
right. Some things are forgotten, and they do come back. So
there you go.
Yes, it's kind of weird how that happens. Well, Tosh, that's been forgotten. Is there something you're never going to forget?
Well, I like I said, I spent a week out in the South Dakota and Wyoming, and seen Devil's Tower and Custer State Park and the Badlands. And man, I tell you what, it's just so beautiful out there. Mother Nature is incredible. Never forgetting, those hikes around Devil's Tower, which is just a very cool experience, and hikes through the Badlands. It's awesome. That area, if you haven't been out there, you should go. It'll be something you never forget as well.
Yeah, I got to get out there. Did you see Mount Rushmore? Or were you
we did.
There?
We stopped at Mount Rushmore. We did Custer State Park, which is where Dances with Wolves. Some of that was filmed. So saw the wild buffalo out there, and
nice.
The donkeys, the mules that wander around and wait for you to bring them apples and stuff. It's kind of funny, but it's beautiful out there. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I got to get out there. It's been a long time since I went out there. I do remember, though, like you said, the 80 mile an hour speed limit. That was always pretty cool.
That is.
I feel like they never, like out in the, there's absolutely nothing out there. I mean, you could legit do 100, couldn't you?
Oh, you probably could. I mean,
not that you would.
Not that I would, but there were not many cops either. So it was, I think I saw more cops on the way home from La Crosse to Appleton than I did the entire trip. So it was pretty crazy. A lot of fun. So that's what I'm never forgetting. Joe, how about yourself?
Well, Tosh, I'm going a little old school. I live in an older house, and I usually spend my time on the back patio or back porch, and it's kind of peaceful back there. But I've had a little opportunity, and I'm never going to forget this. I got a big covered front porch that's on it's not a busy street, but there's a lot of people out and about. I live near Eleanor, so if you've ever gone to Eleanor and parked on Pacific Street, I live right there. I got to sit on the front porch more. I had some friends over. We had a federal holiday not too long ago, and we kind of had brunch on the front porch, and it kind of reminisced that back in the day, before you had the internet, before you had games, maybe you had the radio, but everybody used to sit on the front porch. You talk to your neighbors, say hi to the people walking by. So I'm never forgetting that. Use your front porch. Sit out there, say hi.
Yeah, they were built that way for a reason, right?
Exactly. And in the oppressive heat that we've had, something that's shady, you get a nice breeze. It's not a half bad place to sit.
There you go. That's awesome. Well,
yeah, another great episode, Tosh. It was cool to talk racing, and till next time, Tosh, always a hoot.
Thanks for listening to the Newsa-Cast. We appreciate your support in our journey to highlight and support youth sports in Northeast Wisconsin. Help us grow by subscribing wherever you get your podcasts or sharing the Newsa-Cast on social media. A huge thank you to Diggstown for all the music in today's episode. Catch a gig, find them on Spotify, or check them out at diggstownrocks.com. One of the best ways to help us grow the show is to leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcast and Spotify. It really helps our visibility.
This Newsa-Cast was produced by Polywave Studios.